I am talking to Mitch Vieira, the Rockport Town Administrator. Hi, Mitch.
Hi, good morning.
Nice to see you.
Likewise.
Let's just jump right in. Last week's state primary election appeared to go very well. How prepared do you feel now for the general election?
So I think that we're as ready as we can be. Certainly, it's a very large lift for the town clerk's office on getting all the ballots that are coming in, but they did a fantastic job. Many thanks to Melanie and to Pat and all of their election staff for the hard work that they did. And I think they're as ready as they can be for the very large turnout that we're all anticipating for November. Certainly on the safety end of things, we're ready to go.
The polls that I saw, things seemed very calm and very certainly safe. I think there's lots of social distancing, but people were really coming in only in pairs, and it felt like a calm situation.
Yes, the visits that I made to the polling sites throughout the day, everything seemed to go very smooth. Certainly thank you to the poll workers, yourself included, who really embraced the importance of it and taking it very seriously. And that certainly carried through to the people who were coming in to vote. I think certainly it couldn't have gone any better.
I agree from what I saw. Could you just review how people can vote in the general election? I know it's the same as it was in the state primary, but let's just run through the 3 different ways they can vote.
Sure. So they can certainly vote in person on the day of the election. We're open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., all of our regular 3 polling locations. And they can vote early by mail. So in the past, there was always the absentee process, and that's technically still exists. But with early voting and the special act that was passed for early voting, you can certainly do that ahead of time, send it in, request it via mail. You can mail it back in, or you can drop your ballot off here at Town Hall. We did have quite a few people who, when they requested the local election ballot back in June, they asked for all 3 ballots for this year. Mm-hmm. So if you've done that, one will be sent to you. If you haven't, you can certainly still send a note into the clerk's office, and they can get one out to you when the time comes. And we have early voting. We've got 2 weeks of early voting leading up to the November election here at Town Hall. So that will take place downstairs at the handicap ramp entrance to the building. The same way we had it set up for the primary, we'll have it set up again for November for those who want to vote early, but they want it to be in person instead of via mail.
Right. Another very safe way to vote.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to the town meeting, which is coming up, yet another town meeting. I think you just finished preparing for the last one. So let's just review again the details of this town meeting.
Sure. So town meeting will be Saturday, September 26th, 8 a.m. at the school complex. We will use the exact same process that we did for the August town meeting. So people will have options for seating. They can either sit in the chairs that are set out at the field at the high school. They can bring their own chairs, and we'll have these painted circles in the field like we did last time. That was very popular. People can bring their own chairs, or folks can stay in their car. That certainly was a new thing for us to try. And those who voted that way felt very comfortable. We didn't have as many takers on that as I think we expected, but it went very, very well. So I do want to put out there for those who are on the fence about is it safe to come? Is it safe to be there? We have this new option, and it worked very, very well.
Great.
And it's nearly no contact.
And is there a rain date for this town meeting?
There is not.
Okay.
Everything is set to go on the 26th, so we have our fingers crossed for good weather.
Okay, great. And I have one question, because unfortunately I didn't make it to the last town meeting. How is the audio? How does that work? So it must have functioned very well, because I didn't hear complaints, but people sitting in their cars can hear what's happening?
They can. So people in the field, we have the large speakers set up. So our normal process with that. And those who are in their car, our audio vendor actually broadcasts out on a radio station. So the same as if you were going to the drive-through. A drive-in.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you go to a drive-in movie, you can do it the exact same way. So when you show up that morning, we give you what station to tune your radio to. And that could be certainly heard crystal clear in the parking lot. And we did have folks say that they could hear it in other parts of town as well. Folks down at Long Beach could hear it. Folks downtown could still hear it. Can't participate that far away, but certainly a good option for those who wanted to just listen.
That's great. And I have one question about the warrant. There has been some noise about the citizen petitions being removed from the warrant. Do you just want to respond to that?
Sure. So at the last town meeting, the town meeting body itself voted to do a very specific postponement. The body itself voted to do a postponement on those petition articles that were there, all 7 of them, to the first meeting following the cessation of the governor's emergency order. And there was a decent amount of debate on that. And then that vote passed at town meeting 90 to 26. So it was on the warrant, and the residents who attended had the opportunity to debate that. And that motion did pass. So the selectmen have agreed that at that first meeting following the end of the emergency order, those will all be placed back on exactly as they were. People will not have to gather any further signatures.
Great. So let's move on to something called the Hazard Mitigation Virtual Workshop. Tell us what that is and why it's important.
Sure. So as part of our internal emergency planning processes, we have a hazard mitigation plan. That needs to get updated at least once every 10 years. And we're in that cycle right now. And we have a great group of stakeholders internally led by our Director of Emergency Services, Mark Schmink. We have stakeholders from conservation, from health, from building, from public works, and community representation. And this covers all of our different scenarios. What happens if? And part of that process is getting feedback from the community. So folks who would like to come in and opine on concerns that they may have, or items that they want to be sure that we're preparing for, any kind of general feedback relating to the public portion of the plan. We certainly would love to get the feedback on it. We need to hear that. That's going to be taking place Monday the 14th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Normally we'd have a meeting up at the community house where folks can come in, but certainly with the pandemic, we're staying on Zoom at this point. So we'd encourage folks to join us for that. There'll be a brief presentation by our planning consultant. We've retained Horsley Witten, environmental consultants for this. And our lead consultant will provide a presentation and an overview on the plan for everyone. And then we're open for questions and any kind of feedback.
So is every town in Massachusetts required to come up with a hazard mitigation plan?
They are. So there are certain things that we all need to have in place, and this is one of them. Certainly very critical for us because of where we are with our being on the ocean and our need to be sure we're resilient with the storms certainly that come through, among many other issues that we face. So yes, this is certainly something that's critical for us to have.
So in this meeting, you'll be addressing potential disasters, whether they're natural or, I don't know, I can't think of ones. I don't want to think of ones that aren't natural.
Yeah. The primary focus will be on natural disaster end of things, and how we would respond, how some of the FEMA requirements will play into things. We have a very good system in place now, all of those winter storms that we were able to weather. So it's something that we've had a lot of practice on, certainly good and bad, but we're very well practiced in those areas. Now we just need to be sure that our plan is up to date with what we're doing.
And I know that it seems to come up perennially that we need yet another escape route or another emergency route out of the end of the island. Is that part of this plan?
That's something that does come up. I know that's been debated for many years, and we've never quite found the good solution for it. So certainly if there's something to consider, we'd always look at that as part of our overall emergency planning. But at this point, there hasn't been that singular solution that would pan out.
Well, I'm kind of okay with Nugent Stretch right now, but I understand. Every time it comes up, I think, oh, that is something to think about. But Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot more to think about in this plan. So again, the Zoom link is on the website, the rockportmass.gov, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Right on the homepage, you can find that. You can also find a lot of other great information, but you go right to our homepage, rockportma.gov, and that's the first news item.
Great. Anything else we need to know about Rockport this week?
That covers it. You know, we thank everybody for their great turnout for the election. Mark your calendars for town meeting on the 26th, and we hope that you'll join us on Monday the 14th at 6 p.m. for the Hazard Mitigation Forum.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.